Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will show you how to assign a macro to a button or a shape in Excel. This is useful if you want to run your macro with just a single click instead of going into the menu every time or remembering a shortcut key. To assign a macro to a button, first you have to enable the developer tab. So if it's not already enabled, you have to enable the developer tab. In my case, I already enabled and you can see the developer tab here. If it's not visible, then right click on the ribbon and go to customize ribbon. There on the right panel, you have to enable the developer option here. Okay, so ensure that it is enabled and then click OK. So you will see the developer tab in the main menu. This is the first step you have to do. Then you have to create a macro. To create a macro, you can go to the developer tab. Then you can use the record macro option to create a macro. So in my case, I already created a macro. So I need to assign that macro to a button or a shape. So first I'll explain how to assign macro to a button. So you need to create a button. So under developer tab, you go to the insert, select button, then you draw a button on your worksheet. Then immediately after leaving the mouse, you will be asked to assign a macro. So you already created a macro by name add. So I'll select it and then click OK. So that will assign the macro to this button. Now I can change the name of this button by edit text. So I'll change the name as add. Then I'll also change the size of this text by selecting the text size to 20 and I'll also make it bold. So this way we can assign macro to a button. So you can now click on this button and run that macro. So clicking on this, that will run the macro. So here I am using the macro to add two numbers. So if you enter those two numbers, you will get the result. So this is how you assign a macro to a button. So you can also assign a macro to a shape. To assign a macro to a shape, in the main menu, go to Insert, click on Shapes. There you select whichever shape you require. In this case, I'll select a novel shape. I'll draw the required size here. Now right click on this shape and you can assign the macro. I'll assign the same macro here. Click OK. So that will assign a macro to this. Now you can assign a name to identify this label. You can go for edit text. There I'll type text as add. Now you need to change the size of the text. So I'll make it 20 and make it bold and center the text. Now whenever you want to run the macro, you can click on this add button. That will run the macro and you can run the program. This is how you assign a macro to a button or a shape. In fact, shapes often look more professional than standard buttons because you can format them freely and make dashboards look clean. Many Excel trainers prefer using shapes for automation. Now you have learned how to assign a macro to a button or a shape. Thank you for watching.